Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Villeneuve, the Public Relations Coordinator for the Military Family Resource Center of the National Capital Region. And I'm here today to present you the workshop, How to Talk to Our Children About the Impact of Stressful Events, that was presented by Jessica Dion, our Bachelor in Social Work, and Shannon Tiston, our Master's in Social Work, who are part of our Prevention, Support, and Intervention team. So to start, we're here today to discuss some tools for talking with your children about the stressful events that occurred this past month in Quebec and here in Ottawa. While children cannot be completely protected from these events, parents can help them feel safe and help them to better understand the world around them. So we'll talk first about signs of stress. We have 5 categories. We have body, mind, feelings, behavior, and lastly, looking for changes in your child. When we talk about signs of stress with the body, we're talking about tense muscles, headache, stomachache, shallow breathing, rapid heartbeat, dry mouth, cold, sweating palms, skin rash, eyes darting back and forth, clenched jaw, tense face, disturbed sleep, fatigue, illness, shaky. When we talk about mind, we're talking about poor concentration, whirling mind, forgetful, less creative, difficulty problem solving, not spontaneous, easily distracted, confused, irrational. When we're talking about feelings, children will experience intense feelings. They could be withdrawn, fearful, anxious, frustrated, sad, angry, overwhelmed, panicky, overly sensitive, irritable, helpless, hopeless, threatened, and overexcited. And when we talk about behavior, we're talking about whining, clinging, poor listening, biting even, kicking, crying, hair twisting, thumb sucking, nail biting, daydreaming, fighting with friends and family. The child could be restless, jumpy, impulsive, cautious, poor school performance, lack of appetite, or eating more than usual. So when we say looking for change, what's important is that you look for changes in your child. If they're a thumb sucker already, then sucking their thumb is not necessarily a sign of stress for them. However, if they used to suck their thumb and haven't done so in 6 months, but start again, then that's probably a sign of stress. It's also important to talk to your child about what they're feeling. If they're showing signs of stress, it is not necessarily because of what has happened over the past month. It could be something completely unrelated. So we have some tips for all ages, a few pointers. We have flexible routines. We have calm, truthful, and limited information, emphasis on safety, and then acknowledging when you don't know as a parent. So when we talk about flexible routines, it's important to keep your child's regular routines as much as possible in order to instill a sense of normalcy for them. But be flexible. They may need you to lie down with them before bed for a few minutes, or even stay up later to talk. So trust your parents' instincts. When we say calm, truthful, and limited information, it is that children of all ages will feed off of your emotions. If you're emitting panic, they will sense it and feel panicked. So do your best to remain calm and answer their questions truthfully while only giving them the information they need to know to have their questions answered. For example, if your 6-year-old asks you what happened to that man, they might be satisfied with an answer of he got hurt or he got hit by a car. They may be satisfied with that, and you will be happy you started with a simple answer rather than elaborating. So our advice is to let them take the lead when asking you questions so that you can then adapt your answer. When we say emphasize safety, when you're answering your children's questions, follow up each answer by emphasizing safety. You can say things like, but we have the police forces, security, military looking after us, and we are safe. For teens, consider discussing how quickly the police, the schools, the military, the security responded, reinforcing that they are prepared to deal with threats. And when we say acknowledge when you don't know, we suggest that you don't lie or make something up. If you don't know the answer to a question, simply tell them you don't know, and then tie back to them being safe with many protectors watching out for everyone. Now we have tips for different developmental stages. So divided by age groups, we have children under 2 years who react to their environment and need a routine. And then we have the 3 to 5 year olds, naturally egotistical, and they're protectors, and they may need alternative methods of expression. So when we talk about children under 2 years, they do not understand what is happening, but they will react to the tension and the anxiety in their environment. So keep their routines as much as you can and provide the time for quiet play and calming rituals, such as infant massage, rocking, singing bedtime songs. When we're talking about the 3 to 5 year olds, children at that age are naturally self-centered. They need reassurance that they're safe and that their immediate family is safe. It is natural for them not to think beyond that to others. Talking about the protectors we have in place in our society, police, military, security forces, can be comforting for them. You can answer their questions simply by acknowledging that, yes, a bad man hurt another man, but we are safe thanks to our police forces, security, military forces, etc. Children in this age group may still have trouble expressing themselves verbally, so offer alternative ways for them to express their feelings, such as drawing, painting, or even acting out a story. If we continue for the tips for the different age groups, we have the 8 to 11 and we have the 12 plus. The children between 8 and 11-year-olds it's important to avoid unvetted news and to address what their friends are saying. When we're talking about teenagers, you can allow them more access, and again, it's important to address what their friends are saying. So for the 8 to 11, we advise that you avoid watching news with a child of this age, as the presentation may be too graphic for them to watch. For example, the footage of the gunfight in Parliament or footage of Corporal Cirillo receiving CPR. Consider showing them clips from YouTube or the internet that you have seen first. For example, footage of the Sergeant-at-Arms Vickers receiving a standing ovation in Parliament. You can discuss with them how he was a hero and stopped the shooter, holding him as an example of one of the protectors. If you shield them from all news at this age, they may be curious and seek it out on their own. If you curate what they see as much as you can then have some control. And for both 8 to 11 and 12 plus age groups, their peers can have a huge influence on them. So ask them what their friends are saying so you can address any misconceptions or untruths. And if we talk about teenagers, well, children over the age of 12 can handle watching the news and may have curiosity about news. Allow them, if it is appropriate, but watch the news with them and be available to answer questions and correct misconceptions again. And remember, these tips we're telling you, they're just guidelines. You know your child best, and you know what they can handle. And while talking about the military child, that children living the military lifestyle will have extra stressors and may have difficult questions to ask. When we talk about those extra stressors, obviously, many children around the country will be affected by these events, but children who have a parent in the military will most likely feel extra stress due to the nature of these targeted attacks. Watch your child closely for signs of stress and be open for any questions they may have. And talking about those questions, for example, will daddy or mommy be killed because they're in the military? Well, if they bring forth such a question, you can stress the safety and protective factors surrounding the military right now. Say things like members are taking care not to wear their uniform in public, there's extra security in place, military members are highly trained to protect themselves and others. Perhaps the most difficult question of all, why would someone do this? It can probably only be answered with an I don't know. There's evil in this world that mommy and daddy cannot understand or explain. We're doing everything in our power to make sure you are safe. So talk with them about how they can spread love and joy in their world. And we've talked about children, but it is also crucial that you check in with yourselves. And we're talking about transferring emotions, acknowledging your feelings, and appropriate outlets. When we're talking about transferring emotions, children of all ages are very perceptive of their parents' feelings and moods. They will pick up on what you're feeling even when you try and hide it. So make sure to take time to check in with yourself and figure out what you're feeling. And that brings us to acknowledging your feelings. It is okay to share your feelings with your children. Saying things like, I feel sad too, or I'm scared too, models talking about your feelings. Always be sure to tie back to their safety, saying things like, I'm scared too, but it makes me feel better to think about all the police officers in the city looking out for us. When we're talking about appropriate outlets, we all need to vent our fears and frustrations about these events too. Save that when you're with an adult friend or a family member and there are no children around. Because even teenagers need to feel strength and safety from their parents. So we really suggest that you vent out your fears when there are no children around. And that brings us to normal feelings. We might feel sadness, anger, fear, indifference, or desensitization, and relief versus guilt. So it is completely normal for us to run the gamut of emotions when thinking about or discussing these tragic events. You may feel one of these feelings, all of them, or maybe something completely different. We all process and grieve differently, so each person is justified in feeling different emotions. First, we have sadness. We may feel sad for the victims and their families, or for the loss of the feeling of security on Canadian soil. We may even feel sad for the family of the shooter. These are all completely normal and valid feelings. When we talk about anger, well, we may feel angry at the perpetrators of these crimes, or at the government and or military for not preventing them, or even at our spouse for introducing us to the military lifestyle. Again, all normal feelings. Emotions are running high and not always what we would consider rational. And talking about not rational, well, we have fear. While most of the country is probably experiencing fear, military members and their family members may be especially fearful because of the nature of these attacks. This is something that may not be understood by our non-military extended family, friends, and our children's classmates. We advise that you consider seeking out other people who understand the military lifestyle to talk with. When we talk about indifference and desensitization, some people may not feel any emotions concerning these events and feel indifferent or desensitized. This is also a normal thing to go through and does not mean you don't care. Feeling this way is actually a way of protecting yourself, and you will probably start feeling other emotions at a later date, maybe even when you least expect it. And lastly, we have relief. As military members and family members, it is very likely that you will feel relief, or that you or your loved one was not targeted in these attacks. This sense of relief often leads to guilt. As human beings, we innately have a survival instinct, and these feelings are completely normal. Now, we've talked about signs of stress, extra stressors, and normal feelings. The purpose is to create a less stressful home environment. Now, a few tips, a few suggestions to help with that: exercise and free play, a healthy, well-balanced food routine, individual time with parents, hugs and signs of affection, a regular routine, sleep, laughter. Laughter is the best medicine. And lastly, adults who model stress management. That will help a lot in creating a less stressful home environment. Our team, our social work team, have a few resources for you, activities for children who are worried or scared. It'll help children acknowledge and talk about their feelings. You can do these activities with your child and even try them yourself. We have a resource library at the center. You can contact our team anytime to learn more about activities. And they're suggesting this book called The 5 Love Languages of Children by Gary Chapman. And a copy of this book was adapted to military families. I'd like to end by saying that the important thing is to live a fulfilled life. The point of an act of terror is to instill fear and cause us to change our way of life. So yes, be vigilant, but go about your normal life as best as you can. If you have any questions, again, the Prevention, Support, and Intervention team is here to help you.